everybody, it's Romania Black, and we are halfway through TRIGUN STARGAZE, which is weird to think about. So, yeah, we're on episode 6 of TRIGUN STARGAZE. I was really happy to see some people commenting over on YouTube on episode 4. I was like, oh, thank you, because I was gonna be honest, I was about to just make it Patreon only and been like, I just won't worry about it, but some people picked up on viewership, I think, once episode 4 hits. I think episode 4, the first 3 episodes of TRIGUN STARGAZE I really like, but they definitely are like just meandering setup episodes, and 4 and 5 have been like boom, bada boom. I blame Mid-Valley on that, but I love Mid-Valley so much. But anyway, I'm really glad that we've gotten some comments I can actually talk about for this episode before we start it, because things are picking up. Knives is almost back to full capabilities. Legato has decided that, you know, if Mid-Valley can't get the job done, then let a bad bitch go do the job for him. And so he thinks he's gonna go in there and face Vash. Sure, Legato. Sure. Although I have some things from Trigun Maximum I talked about last week that I think could be interesting to see if they pan out in this series. We'll see. But anyway, I have a couple comments for episode 4 and episode 5 I want to talk about before we start this episode in particular. Rose Jennison had a comment for episode 4 and 5 I want to talk about. For episode 4, they said, the scene with the plants restoring Knives and Knives seeming to get Tesla's memories is a very intriguing idea. If those are straightforward memories, it does indeed make Rim feel much more complicated and a bit creepy for replicating things so exactly with the twins. But I wonder if the merging with Knives also affected the memories themselves. Like, is that Tesla's memory exactly? Or is it what the memory looks like after merging with Knives' own memories? Time will tell, I suppose. I had not thought of it that way, but that is a really good, really good possibility that I hadn't even considered. I was like, oh yeah, what if Knives and his memories are getting merged with the other plant's memories, like Tesla's? That's going to make things even crazier. I need Knives to have a massive freak out when he wakes up. I need that to happen. I just need it to happen. So that's going to be interesting to think about, but I'm glad they pointed that out. They also said in episode 5, I continue to love getting more insight into characters like Mid-Valley and how they relate to the other characters. However, I do feel like we missed a few steps between sound was always my thing and him using it to kill a bar full of people. Yeah, my one criticism with Stargaze is if this is all we're going to get and they're not going to continue on with the series, which we will talk about that in a hot second with someone else's comment, that I'm like, I wish they would have given us a little bit more backstory, but to be fair, we don't get a lot in Trigun Maximum with Mid-Valley, so I'm like, I'll take whatever crumbs I can get. We can basically piece together the how'd we get from point A to point B. We've kind of seen that with WolfWood so far, so we can kind of piece together the how did that happen, and I think Hopper's character as well kind of lends to that. To go along with it, Bickery1 for episode 4 says, as for the pacing, I'm thinking or hoping they wrap up the story with a 2-hour movie for the final battle like Demon Hunter and other anime have done. Now, we've talked about the whole final battle thing with the spoiler corner, so I'm not going to get too much into that. You can go to last week's episode. I'm so torn because on the one hand, I don't like when it depends on the arc. Usually when it's like a manga adapted into an anime, I'm not a big fan of the movie adaptations because I think that they are just cheap cash grabs by the studios. They don't want to take the time to do a whole series. So like, we'll just do a 2-hour movie, call it a day. And it frustrates me a lot. However, with this particular series, because we're doing it on, it's not anime original, but it's kind of an original take on an already existing property. I think the movie could work better for Trigun, honestly, because you're not constricted to, we have so many chapters we have to adapt in so much time. It's more, what concepts do we want to do to adapt from a previous adaptation into this? So I'm not opposed to a movie. If we get to the end of this season and there's still stuff left to do, I'd rather have a movie at the end than just to call it quits and be done with it. I'd rather do that. And plus, I'm greedy. And I want more Trigun content, darn it. So yeah, I'm all about that. Thank you, Bickery. Marix1464 says, before this, I was a little up in the air about Legato, but he's so unintentionally funny and his VA is so good, this episode immediately won me over. One of my favorite additions and changes that Stargaze is doing is using the plants to bring back knives. They do talk a little bit about a scene in that comment over on YouTube for episode 4 from Trigun Maximum, which I agree. I'm going to miss that scene. Holy cow, that scene was crazy. But they said, I like where this is going with the new version. And I wonder if Knives will get mad enough, or if we'll even have enough time left in the story to put a certain character in a certain coffin brace. I hope we do. I'm so excited to see this week's reaction. Yes, I have hopes for Legato and Knives and their interactions, but I talked about that last week in the spoiler corner. We'll see if that happens or not. I feel like this episode, as we're prepping the battle, is going to be pretty telling. Like, where are we at as far as setting things up? And then Sunspots finally said, this episode 5, is the most brutal and toxic Blue Giant alternate universe possible. I got a good laugh out of that. If you've not seen Blue Giant, it's over on my channel in my Patreon commission playlist. You should go watch it. It's a really good movie. But yeah, so yeah, we're doing episode 6 halfway through Stargaze after this week, which is insane to think about, but I'm so excited. The episode, it's technically episode 18, whatever, but I'm so excited. We don't need to waste any more time. I'm already 6 minutes into the discussion. So thank you all so much for your comments. Thank you for liking the video and for talking about it. It really encourages me to keep watching, and I love Trigun, so that's not hard to do. So we're going to check out episode 6 of Trigun Stargaze, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's do it to it. Okay. I have thoughts. I have many thoughts of, should we call this the good, the bad, and the shippy? I feel like we should call this episode the good, the bad, and the shippy, because that is exactly what it was. There was a lot of good, a lot of shippy, and some things that I was interested, curious, maybe tiny bit disappointed, and questioning. So y'all know that I'm gonna keep it 100 on this channel. If I like something, I'm gonna gush about it. If I don't like something, I'm gonna let you know about it, and that's fine. Does this diminish my view of Trigun? Well, no. We're only halfway through. We're only halfway through the season. We still have plenty of time to go. There are some things that I would have maybe changed about this episode, but there's also some justifications I can see about it, and some things that I'm like, Studio Orange, you could have done a little bit more. But so we're going to be a bit honest about this, and you all can share down below your opinions as well. I feel like sometimes with Trigun, especially of this series, I have praised it more than critiqued it, and there have been others in the comments that have critiqued it more than praised it, and that's fine. We can talk about that. I still love Trigun, but let's go ahead and bring up the the screenshots here, and we're going to look this through in 3, 2, 1. For a hot second, I was going to start to say that Jessica was the token black character in this anime, and I was going to start to critique it, but looking at this here, no, we have a plethora of diverse ethnicities that are filling this ship, the home base, which is great because, look, if I'm from the United States and there is a big anti-diversity movement in part of my country that is very concerning to me and very unwarranted. It's just like it's a lot of racism basically, but it's basically like, why do we need people of other ethnicities in there? And I'm like, you know what? Because there are other people of other ethnicities all across the world, and they like to see themselves represented in media, and that should happen. I don't see a problem with it. And so Jessica, we talked about her back when her character was introduced. I love her design. The only thing I will say is that if you look at this panel here, you see a whole host of diverse characters. Nobody gets a cool outfit like Jessica. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more, not diversity in terms of the characters, but in their wardrobe. Like, why does Jessica get to wear a cool, like, DIY outfit and everybody else has to stay in their regulated outfits, right? Especially when we see the one girl that she's kind of nervous. Like, there's the baby, and then there's the parents that are, like, holding on there. And then this one girl who looks legit like Amy from Sailor Moon. She looks like Sailor Mercury. Like, she just has this regular white shirt on. Jessica gets this cool badass overall set and, like, these flowers and all this. Like, why is this girl not getting any of that? So if I were to critique Studio Orange, it's not for their lack of diversity and representation. It's the fact that only the cool kids get to have outfits that are fun, aka Jessica, and no one else. But yeah, I do think, I don't mind. Somebody in the comments for episode 4 had said that Jessica was annoying. I don't find her annoying. She's a kid character and she serves a purpose. And if it is to connect to a younger audience, then sure. I mean, it's kind of like TK and Kari and Digimon, who are the younger siblings, whatever. Some people think they're annoying. I was all about it because I was the age of them when I watched. So yeah, sure. Why not? I don't have a problem with Jessica, and she's kind of relegated to being we're going to check in on her every 5 seconds or so to make sure she's still okay. But yeah, the darkest hour is just before the dawn. I will say, one critique I have is that I feel like as far as the darkest hour, I feel like this could have gotten a little bit more extreme than it did, especially if you compare to Trimax. Like, Trigun Maximum is just a bloodbath. It's just a bloodbath from start to finish. It is just straight up action every 5 seconds. I will say, to Trimax's detriment, sometimes because there is so much action and so much battles, that it does not lend as much to some character work that I think Stampede and Stargaze do give us a little bit more of. So, you know, apples and oranges. To me, gore and stuff is like, I like it in moderation because it stands out more. It's amazing in Trimax if you like that, but it does border on the edge of, for me, a little excessive. Whereas here, it's almost the opposite problem where I'm like, the Mid-Valley scene in episode 4 was like, in episode 5, I mean, Mid-Valley's whole scene at the beginning was like, holy shit, that's crazy. And I could have done with a little bit more of that here, maybe? Maybe not so much with, I don't want the people on the ship to die, obviously, but with Vash and WolfWood, they play WolfWood a lot more realistically, I feel, in terms of him getting hurt than they did in Trigun Maximum. Trigun Maximum, WolfWood's just like getting thrown around every 5 seconds. And Vash, I do appreciate that Vash's like plantness only comes out in moderation. I just felt like they could have taken it a little bit further. If the episode is called Darkest Hour Before the Dawn, they could have taken it a little bit further. Maybe, possibly. But maybe they'll do that next week. I don't know. One thing I do really appreciate is the plants design, like where it's this like torso and like torso and lower abdomen and like right around their pelvis, like it's them. And then they not only look like a light bulb, which is really, you know, they are powering the cities and everything. They look like a light bulb, but they also like have this kind of Salvador Dali, like surrealist, like where the top unfurls to like reveal the plant inside. Like, it's kind of cool. I like it. I like their design so much. And then with Vash, we of course get the stereotypical, I've got glasses on so you won't see what I'm actually thinking as I'm staring at this plant. Clearly, Vash wants to protect the plants. We're going to talk about knives and the plants here shortly, but Vash clearly wants to protect them, but how do we coexist? And if their hair changing is a sign of fatigue, Vash is pretty much halfway towards fatigued, which is concerning to me. So yeah, so Vash has made up his mind. He's like, I'm going to protect this ship and everybody on it. Now, the question of this is, how does I don't think Vash intended to necessarily go to see knives, although WolfWood kind of guessed that he did. Vash is pretty confident that he can reach his brother and he can stop his brother from hurting others. And that is a character trait that has been consistent of Vash all throughout every single adaptation. Vash is like, I know my brother better than anyone else. If anybody's going to convince my brother of anything, it's going to be me. And he's not wrong. It's just Vash doesn't always take it to, like, Knives takes things to the extremes, typically. He showed quite a lot of restraint in this episode, which we're going to talk about, but as far as anything else, usually Vash is the one that's more restrained, and Knives is usually the one that goes all out. So, Wolfwood's saying his eyes are more or less okay. They were not. He could not see when he fought Gauntlet or whatever his name is. And so, I like this Millie coming up with him. I give us some fan fiction of what Millie and Wolfwood been doing on their own, And so he got these flashbangs that he ends up using in this. They get all the ammunition and everything. And then I like that Millie's like, we found a motorcycle. I wanted to try riding it. Her doing the vroom vroom, I need the vroom vroom on a little audio clip that I can play when I'm feeling at my lowest to make myself feel better. Because Millie's vroom vroom was like an instant, like straight up serotonin to my veins. Like that's exactly what it was. I was like, dang girl. I freaking love Millie. She's so innocent. She's so wonderful. I love her. She's holding like a magazine of bullets and Wolfwood's like, all right. So Wolfwood acknowledges he has no chance against Legato, which glad he's more self-aware than he is in the manga. We'll talk about that in the spoiler corner. But yeah, so he says, I can't go up against Legato. They discover he has telekinesis. He can control other people's bodies. And Wolfwood very, realistically says, how do we even beat somebody like that? The answer is through plant-like powers. But we don't get to see the full on that. Or freaking nails. Freaking nails. Alindra. Yes, we're going to talk about her. And I like that Vash is like, well, I'll do the best I can do. That right there, cut that out, make that screenshot and go, Trigun by Night Owl. I'll do the best that I can do. That's literally the series. That's literally Vash's MO. I'm going to do what I can. Gonna try. And so Wolfwood acknowledges, he's like, even if you get carted off, what are you going to do? And then he's like, so then they wake up Knives. And then he realizes, I think Wolfwood realizes two things. One, that Vash is being targeted for being alive to wake Knives up. So the best thing to do would be just to get rid of Vash. And then that can't happen. But two, I think he realizes that Vash very much intends to go see Knives. And he's like, hold on now. He's like, yeah, let's not have that. It's probably best just to kill you here and now. But what a world. How Wolfwood has grown. Wolfwood has gone from wanting immediately to either kill Vash if he was in, or kill anybody else in the way, to logistically thinking things through. He's like, Knives can't come back if this idiot runs amok. And no man's land can safely await the arrival of the colony fleet. I mean, he's like, I'll make sure your funeral is dignified and solemn. And he's like, what do you say, Needle Noggin? And Vash is like, I'm not going to fight you. That stare. I love the blue light of the plant behind him. He's like, come on now. He's like, you're not going to do that. I mean, what would happen if he had killed Vash? Would they have been able to bring Knives back without Vash? They probably could have if they had more plants. They probably could have. Would Knives have been completely back? Maybe not. Would Knives have been ultimately pissed and destroyed everybody? Yeah. And if Knives didn't, then Wolfwood just said that he can't fight Legato. So if Legato couldn't bring Knives back, Legato'd kill all of them. He'd just kill all of them. And I think Alindra would be the only one that could stop him. So, I mean, it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. You need Vash to protect everybody, so you can't kill him. But he also could bring Knives back, which could kill everybody. So what do you do? Yeah, and I like that Wolfwood's like, come on now. He's like, you gonna even fight me? And Vash is like, no. And Millie, I love Millie as the tension breaker. She's like, that's called keeping it in the house. And he's like, what? I love his little face there. Go back to that. Where she's like, it's called keeping it in the house. His little cute face. Oh, Again, in this iteration, in this adaptation, Wolfwood is a grown-up child. Like, to be fair. And he's like, what? And she's like, no, it's self-serving. She's like, you're the Undertaker killing someone to do their funeral. It's very self-serving. God, Millie's an angel. Love her. So everybody gets a little chuckle out of that. And he's like, well, I can't kill Vash, obviously. And he's like, he's like, give me my ammo. And she's like, here you go. Freaking love Millie and Wolfwood. They're dynamic. Love it. More of it, please. All day long. So yeah. And she's like, well, you weren't going to kill Vash because the Horn Freak said it all. You're Vash's sworn ally now, aren't you? He's like that. The Undertaker wouldn't harm his own friend. Mm-hmm. He spent more than 2 years looking for Vash because they're friends. I love that these two girls are in on it. They know. These two ladies are in on it. They're just like, you were looking for your friend, weren't you? Your sworn ally, weren't you? That's why you spent 2 years looking hand and foot. Nah, nah, nah. Like, they might as well have just been KISSING. And Wolfwood's like, I have said nothing. I love this. And then Vash is like, well, he's like, thanks, Wolfwood. Shut up, Vash. I didn't say anything. I love them. I love all four of them together. Their dynamic is precious. But damn it, Vash's hearing notes that Legato is here. Can we also talk about how the fact that Elindra is just having the time of her life? Look at her. She's just having the greatest time ever. A wonderful time. Elindra is just looking fabulous. Also want to point out something that I've noticed, and it's just like in the construction of the characters. Elindra she's wearing a loose dress, so it's kind of hard to tell, but she has kind of like a bust. Girl has a bust. And the reason why I say that is because a prepubescent girl does not, right? So even though Elindra is very short and looks like a child, she talks like an adult, she acts like an adult, and she might just be a very petite, short woman who is unlike, talk spoiler corners, but I feel like the idea of how they design her in this episode makes it clear, and the lipstick and everything makes it clear. She's a grown woman. She's just very petite. She's very petite, and we appreciate them celebrating all body types. So yeah, but she's just having the time of her life. Now, luckily the missiles, they had the shields up, didn't do anything. So the doctor's like, I'll take out their storm shield generator. And she's like, SSG, quit using tech jargon. Like, love it. This became Star Wars for a hot second. Not that I'm mad about that. I like me some Star Wars. I do worry a little bit about Brad. I worry a little bit about Brad, who is flying around with all the missiles and stuff going on. Maybe he's impervious to being hurt because he's a main character. Maybe not. We'll see. But yeah. The Ark did get damaged a little bit, which was good to note. Also, we find out a little bit of tidbit. The missiles have to recharge after 30 minutes. It's good to know. And good to know for the future. And so, yeah, then Legato just goes down with Gauntlet. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I will talk more about it in the spoiler corner, but I was a little disappointed that Legato and Gauntlet's battle with Wolfwood and Vash was so short. I think you could have had the whole episode be about it. It felt, this whole episode felt like we had to very quickly get to Knives waking up. And honestly, before starting this episode, I feel like you could have gone the rest of the season without Knives waking up. And then he wakes up and then that starts all of that. I will talk more about it in the spoiler corner, but I think you could have gone the entire season with Knives not waking up, and then when the colony and the ships come in, that's when it happens. But they clearly have a plan. I'm going to trust Studio Orange with their plan, but I really thought this sequence could have been longer, unless they're saving it for... I mean, the fact of the matter is, you have Gauntlet and you have Legato on the Ark with Legato and Wolfwood and Vash, so if we have a rematch battle, that's very likely to happen on this ship, especially with Wolfwood involved. That could definitely happen. And who knows, maybe Livio will show up. Maybe Livio will show up. We'll talk about it in the spoiler corner. But I think it's a possibility. But I was expecting more from their battle in this. But it's okay. The Star Wars fight with Brad and them is fine. It's just standard air jargon. I like that when the doctor says, don't push it too far. And Elindra is like, going to push it too far. Like, I freaking love Elindra. And she gets to shine in this episode. I'm like, get it, girl. I am so here for her. Her and her manicured nails, everything. So yeah, so we're going to skip over this fight and get straight to Legato, who tells Gauntlet to go on ahead. Gauntlet was sent to go get the plants, which him carrying two makes sense. And then Vash shows up being like, okay. I do love this line. The fool who voluntarily gave up being a god. Yeah, Vash is not about that life. Not at all. I do love that Legato. I like this shot of Vash in the bright sunlight. and then you have Legato in the, not only is Vash in the bright light of outside, Legato's in the shadows, and it's all blue behind him because he's Blue Summers. The visual aspect there is really nice. He's like, the fact that we have to have you to bring Lord Knives back. It's offensive. I do appreciate that a lot. Again, spoiler corner talk, we will get there. He's like, let's go. Don't waste my time. And he's like, I can't go with you. You don't get it, do you? And he's like, what are you going to do? You can't kill me. I did like this confrontation here. I did like this. Meanwhile, we do get Gauntlet versus Wolfwood. Now, I will give Wolfwood some credit to why he wanted to make this battle to where it was short and sweet and to the point because he couldn't see very well. And he's only technically got one vial left. We'll talk about him and the doctor in a little bit. So I think he only has one vial left because he had 3. He used 1. Well, he either has 2 or 3. He either had 4 and used 1 and had 3 left after he got hit by Meryl, or he only has 2 left and then he used 1. So we'll see. But yeah, so he gets knocked out. He drinks the stuff so that he can get his eyesight back and get healed up and all that good stuff. And then Legato's like, are you going to shoot me? And so Vash, of course, this scene, Legato has such a death wish. Legato, technically, I feel, wants to die, but he really is just such a sadist about it. It's so good. And he's like, I know you're not going to shoot me. Oh, love it. And so then, of course, Legato uses his powers and brings there. He's like, I'll take you to our god. Legato's just having a great time. There are moments where, and then Gauntlet shows up with the plants. There are moments where I feel like the voice actor for Legato, they just rolled him out of bed, brought him to the studio, and like, can you just say these lines? Because he voices characters that a lot of time, it's no fault to his own. He often voices characters that are very low-key, low-voiced, just like, kind of like, all right, let's go. Like, they don't have a lot of energy to them, but will say he pulled his weight in this episode because the moment he started getting like gleefully excited about Vash starting to like connect to his plant self. Also, this man with his hands on his hips like that. Twig City. Yeah. Vash trying to like fight. When Vash was fighting his telekinetic powers, that was so good because Legato was kind of getting off on it. Being like, come on, challenge me. Come at me, bro. What are you going to do? Like, he was really getting excited. And I like when they animate Legato getting genuinely excited about Vash, like, challenging him. But yeah, the whole thing about him, like, he's like, you really are Knives' little brother after all. Let's try it out. Can you resist? And him, like, tackling into, like, the plant part of him. And then, yeah, I do like that the wing coming out from Vash's side is, like, black. It's like a black angel's wing. I love that. And I like that Legato's little arm thing there turns purple, interestingly enough. Yeah, I don't know. Why were we testing out Vash? Elendira didn't like that at all. And then Meryl and Millie and Luita are like, this seems like July. This is not good. Let's not test this. So, I do love when Elendira, I forget her eyes are 2 different colors. She kind of has the David Bowie thing going on. And she's like, shut up, Pops. I like that she's like, shut up, Pops. Let me do my thing. That part was really fun. I loved that. That was great. So, yeah. So, they all get the ships out of the way. But just in time for the ship to fire at the Ark and damage it. So, they go to find Vash and Legato, and Elendira's like, what the hell? She's like, that idiot. I like she gets up and she's like, let me go take care of him. Like, freaking love Elendira. Again, now we finally saw Vash a little bit in that moment. Yeah. Him just getting tortured by Legato to the point where he's getting tortured to the point where it's like his plant self is like doing a defense mechanism, and Legato wanted to test that and see how far it could go. There's a part of me that wonders, because I think Legato knows that Knives is stronger than him and could kill him at any point, that I wonder if Legato was just trying to like torture and test Vash to see how far he could push him and to see if that's something he could do with Knives. I don't know. But yeah, that's crazy. And he's like, show me more. Like this part here where he was yelling at Vash, that part was great. Like the VA did a good job with that part right there. And then, the nails. Yes. The nails. Alindra and the nails. Freaking love it. Yes, please. She's so great. Love her. She's like, what are you doing? Who said it was playtime? And the fact that she sticks the other nail in him is amazing. And then takes her little bare foot and she's like, I almost crushed something precious to our Lord. She crushes the nail down into like his lung. Girl. Love that for her. But yeah, Legato got a little bit bloodlusty. He got a little bit too obsessed in that moment. And she's like, don't ever forget you're a pawn. Yeah, she's like, don't let it get to your head. So then, yeah, Gauntlet. I love how she looks here. I freaking love how Lindira looks here. She looks so freaking good. Yes. So yeah, she gets in with Gauntlet. They jump in and they're about to take off. And the whole time I was thinking, where was WolfWood to catch up? He was getting the damn motorcycle. Look, the revolutionary girl Utena lover in me, all I need to see is WolfWood with Vash behind him as they're speeding off on that motorcycle to get out of the arc. That's all I need to see. That's all I need to see. If I could see that, it will make up for many a thing. So please let this happen. I hope so anyway. But yeah, so they get inside. And WolfWood clearly followed to make sure Vash was okay. Let's not get it twisted, right? He clearly followed to make sure that Vash was okay, despite what he claims once he's inside there, right? Which I'm glad WolfWood is there, not only because he can buffer Legato, but also he can see what the hell they're doing, because that was one of the things. He had no idea really what was happening with July, as far as I remember, so it's good that he's actually here. Okay, so the guns are back online, and they're like, Vash is gone. He's on the arc. My only thing here, too, is, okay, let's talk about Knives getting brought back. It makes sense for Legato to take the syringes of the juice, the go-go juice, to bring himself back to life, like what WolfWood would do. That makes a lot of sense. And then they have the 2 plants that they took, and they killed both of them to bring Knives back, and then syncing with Vash. The only thing I will say that I was kind of like, Studio Orange, is they just kept everything with Vash on. Like, they didn't take his coat off. They didn't take his boots off. They put his socks in there. You know he's going to walk around with wet socks when he gets out of there? You know how uncomfortable that's going to be? I was like, you could have just taken his jacket off, put it out to the side. Then you could have had a cool, like, black and white thing going on where you had Knives in all the white and Vash in the black. You could have done that, but we didn't do that. It was a weird choice. But yeah, Legato's over here injecting himself with Ozempic. He's over here. That's why he's so skinny. He's been taking all this Ozempic aboard the Ark. The doc's been giving him a full steady supply of G1s. Meanwhile, WolfWood's like there and he's like, oh, it's the traitor. And he's like, look, I fulfilled my contract, which I like that WolfWood came to tell the doctor and to tell everybody. He's like, hey guys, I've already told Emilio, already brought this up to Mid-Valley, but I am no longer under contract. I am Nicholas D. WolfWood, not the Punisher. Bye. Not working for you all. I'm here as a free agent, so we're all good. And I like that everybody else is fine. Like the doctor's totally... We're going to talk about the doctor when we get to the next scene. But he's like, oh, he's right, Blue Summers. And then Alindira's like, then why are you here? I like Alindira's like, if you're not part of the group anymore, then why'd you come? Basically, this episode should be alternatively titled, the one where WolfWood admits he's in a ship. To everyone but himself. Yeah, this look here! I'm like, bitch, you're in a ship and you ain't even realized it. Come on now. He's like, I just kind of followed and shit. I like Alindira's like, Baka, you don't really realize you're in a ship? Okay. So, and she's like, I already did my fair share. Oh, Zazzy's here too. Let's talk about that. I was curious why WolfWood and Zazzy being observers. Zazzy makes sense. Zazzy's like, I've come in the final hours to witness the Last Supper and see how this all goes down. Glad Zazzy's here. Voice actor sounds amazing. WolfWood, I know that some people might be like, why didn't WolfWood just come in guns a-blazing? I mean, at this point, Alindira, I don't think would have let anything like that happen. Alindira basically just took a bunch of nails through Vash and Legato like it was nothing. And so... we're going to see what goes down, but I'm curious why Knives would let WolfWood be there, unless Knives wasn't listening when they said that WolfWood's no longer part of the group. So I'm curious about that. We're going to talk about that in a wee bit. But Knives is also super confident. He probably doesn't care. He probably thinks he's fine. So yeah, they connect the gate and synced it up to bring Knives back. So last time it like wrecked July. This time it worked really good. I do like that little concerned face that Elendira gives there. She really just wants Knives back. Good for her. So yeah, so Knives connects to the gate, makes his way back. They're all so thrilled. The doctor does not look thrilled, but Legato and Elendira look so pleased. And I'm amazed that Knives did not go apeshit. Okay, I can understand why Knives didn't, because you would think Knives would be so pissed at the plants being used to bring him back. And I think they could have gone the total monster route. Now, I think they're keeping the doctor around for specific reasons, which we'll talk about in the next scene here. And Knives, I don't think is going to attack Elendira, but I think that one thing that is established in this episode is that Knives is kind of off the deep end. Off the deep end quite a bit. Because you would think when he saw his brethren being killed to bring him back, he'd be like, you guys made me into a monster and da-da-da-da-da. But no. Instead, Knives was like, many of you will have to die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Like, Knives went full on Farquaad in this episode. Knives went full on Farquaad, saying, some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Like, he was ready to absorb those plants if it meant he could get back and kill all the humans, and then he's gonna, like, I don't know, incestuously get with his brother and make more plants. I don't know. There's, like, some creepy reproduction stuff from the last season that I was like, let's not go there. Let's not do that. But anyway, so he gets out. Elendira, I've never seen Elendira and Legato, going back to them, I've never seen them look so happy in their whole lives. That doctor looks so reserved. The doctor's like, I don't like this at all. But Elendira and Legato, they look like they've just seen their dad on Christmas. Like, just, oh my God. I also, kudos to Knives for immediately getting his little Kakuna hoodie as soon as he gets out. Gets that immediately. He's like, I gotta have my threads. First off, that also is the face of a man that's not quite happy with any of them, but he's like, we'll take care of this later. First, I'm going to kill. It wouldn't surprise me if Knives was like, oh, you killed all my brethren? Well, let me destroy the humans first, and then you. You know? That would not surprise me, honestly, with Knives. Especially because he goes over, and they're like, are you okay? Is anything hurt? And WolfWood's like, I'm just going to stay here in the back and hope that Knives doesn't see me. Hope that I'm not noticed. Because WolfWood's blending in with that dirty wall real good. So yeah. Now, there is a question here. Knives looks at the two plants in the pods. And then to Vash. Does Knives at this point realize that more than just the two plants have been used to bring him back? Or does he just think that only the two plants have been used to bring him back? Because if Knives only believes that just two plants were used to bring him back, along with Vash, I think I could understand him being a little more restrained. Being like, well, that sucks that we lost two plants, but we'll gain many more. What's going to happen when he figures out that there's not a lot of plants left? There clearly are plants left on the home ship, so maybe he'll forgive them with his crazy mindset being, we'll just go get the plants that are left on the ship. But at the same time, I was expecting more of a freak out. I was hoping for more of a freak out, but who knows? Because he's like, I want to be alone with Vash. Of course you do. And we see his hair has like the little peekaboo of black that was being used. Which is mildly concerning because Knives ain't done anything. He came back and the hair is already black. Goo. Okay, so I want to talk about this scene. I like that this was like tagged as the Venom room. So I think the doctor is realizing what a not good, terrible idea all of this is. I think that the Doctor doesn't have much choice because he's been forced to do a lot of this against his will. But I think one of the reasons why he's okay with WolfWood being there and not being the Punisher is because he's like, hey, we might need you to help battle Knives and Legato and Alindira, because those three seem keen on destroying all of humanity. I'm not so keen about it. Because, yeah, the Doctor was even like, he didn't want the people to get hurt on the ship. He even said that during the attack. He's like, well, hopefully they're all in the, the safe room or whatever. He doesn't want them to get attacked. So I feel like the Doctor is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's having to help, but he doesn't want to. And so he's kind of like, hey, WolfWood, if you could just keep this from happening, that'd be great. Because he offers him the medicine and explains that the Independents don't have infinite power. So the moment their hair turns completely black, they will die. That's a Trigun Maximum thing, and I've been waiting for it to come out in the series so we can talk about it openly. But yeah, that's a Trigun Max thing. I'm curious what they'll do with that, because he says, here you go. Now, he offers him 4, and WolfWood's like, nah, I'm good. And he's like, let me know when that changes. And I'm like, well, that may change it may change down the road. But yeah. If they get tired, they're all going to die and their bodies will shut down completely. Yeah, WolfWood's like, I don't want that to happen at all. Would WolfWood use his extra little container to heal Vash? Would that even work? I don't know. The difference is when and how it arrives. So yeah, Knives is there. He's like, the big fall of 150 years ago was a failure. This time I'm going to succeed. I'll destroy the humans and create a paradise for our brethren. That makes me think that he doesn't know all the brethren are pretty much gone. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't know yet. We'll see. The distant past humans of the earth forgot their gods and enjoy. They basically talk about Noah and the Ark. And so Knives is going to wipe out all the humanity on the planet, and only those aboard the Ark will survive. Those in the plants. And WolfWood's like, you can't summon a huge flood, so what's that going to do? You mistake, sir. Knives, in his mind, is not summoning a flood of water. He's summoning a flood of ships and a flood of blood from the humanity being killed aboard this planet. Yeah, so basically he's like, I'm going to rain down all the satellites, all the colony ships. I'm going to kill everybody coming to get y'all, and their blood will rain down, and that will be the ocean that floods the planet. I'm like, well, that's disturbing. I'm going to rain a rain of 1,000 immigrant ships. I feel like Led Zeppelin should play as he says this. A big Genesis flood. Vash, of course, is like, I'm going to stop you. And he's like, really? I'm surprised Vash could be awake in all of this. And then my other thing is, why? I mean, I guess Vash didn't have a choice to get taken because Alindira made it happen, but I'm like, how are you going to stop him, Vash? 'Tis the question. I love that we don't see Knives' face when Vash says that. He's like, I'll stop you. And he's just like, sure, Jan. Now, he tells Legato to watch him with no rest or no sleep. And Legato's like, yes, sir. Absolutely, sir, on my life. He's like, stay there until the last moment. Stay by my side, Vash. There is a sadness with Knives. Knives just wants to be with his brother, and Vash just wants to be with his brother too. They both just want to be together with each other. One's just a homicidal maniac who wants to keep his brother beside his side as he destroys everybody else. And Vash is like, why can't we be together along with everybody else? And there we go. Also, the plants being Tesla and all that. This is part of the reason why, as soon as we saw this, the episode title, The Darkest Hour is Just Before the Dawn. This is why I kind of understand why Knives seemed more restrained when he found out the plants brought him back. Because Knives is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Knives is pretty crazy. The fact that he had in his piano room all of these statuesque corpses of the plants, I was like, it's so crazy. Because on the one hand, Knives just wants to be him and Vash. But if there has to be other people there, it can be the plants. But he mainly just wants to be him and Vash. But he's kind of crazy because he's kind of like playing the piano and doing this around all these corpses. So, And the moment here where he was like, I'll take in your power, that's when I was like, okay, he was fine taking in the plant's power. Okay, I'll take in your power to make it happen. And I'm like, ugh, how are you going to repopulate? How are you going to, that shot of him as he's just so pissed. Like, he's so mad. So nothing changed with Knives. That's good to know. And then he plays the piano, I like that he has coming out of him, instead of the black angel wing, it's like this like blade wing that comes out, and that's what took out all of the satellites. Fun times. That is pretty bad. There are no communications now. So the colony ships that are approaching from space cannot get a hold of them to tell them what's going on. There is no communication. So, uh-oh. That's not good. That's not good at all. Nope, that's not good at all. So, and then it's already starting to rain down. Not good. Okay, as far as the concept art goes, talk about this. The concept art, I like the idea of having the sand ships and the ship there and the sand speeders. It's fine. I like the ships, flying ships better. Also, getting this shot of Meryl and Millie. Love Millie with the cape hood. That's cool. And then her like gun there, the Gatling gun. Getting them roaming through. I guess this might have been like deleted scenes perhaps. And the arc crash there. Maybe not. And then, oh, I don't know if that's supposed to be Tesla or a Lindira or like a Young Knives. It kind of looks like a Lindira. I like that. If it's a Lindira, I like it. It's a good shot. Okay. All right. So I want to talk about spoiler corners with y'all before we all head out. So in any case, this was a good episode. A part of me, I'm kind of accepting more of Knives not freaking out now because I think that it aligns with him just being kind of crazy. But I wish the battle with Gauntlet and Legato and Vash had been longer. But now that they're all in the arc together, where there isn't going to be the chance of collateral damage with the people on the ship, maybe they're waiting for that. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm going to talk spoilers, so if you're not sticking around for that, please leave a like down below and leave a comment if you can, or if you let me know what you think about the episode. And otherwise, I'll see you all next week with episode 7 of TRIGUN STARGAZE. As far as spoiler corners go, it's mainly just things to expect with TRIGUN Maximum. I will talk about that as we get to it. I do love the idea that Vash is constantly trying to test, being like, how can I reach my brother without killing him? And to be fair, the Legato thing is so crazy in TRIGUN Maximum that I don't know how they can convey that in like 5 episodes. I mean, you could spend the rest of the season just focusing on Legato versus WolfWood and Vash. You could. I don't know how WolfWood's getting Vash out of the little pod that he's in now. I guess we'll see, or if Vash even wants to leave, we'll see what that's like. But I do like the fact that we just cut to the chase where WolfWood is not going to kill Vash, because there was a lot of to-do in TRIGUN Maximum where it was constantly this back and forth of, is WolfWood going to fight Vash, and is he going to kill Vash, and da-da-da-da. And at the end of the day, no, he wasn't. So I'm glad that we just got rid of that in this one conversation. We had Meryl, Millie, and WolfWood all acknowledge that they're friends with Vash. They're not going to try to kill him. They understand what he's doing is crazy. But then again, what other options do they have? I do like that we cut through all of that, right? Also, just the Millie and WolfWood dialogue was just really adorable. Love that. I'm very curious how Emilio and Mid-Valley are going to tie into all of this by the end of the season. Hopefully they will. I'm curious what they're going to do. We're only halfway through, so there's plenty of time for things to go down. But Vash looks so good there. He looks so good there. I'm also curious how, I'm sure that Knives is going to exert himself trying to get all the ships destroyed and the plants and all of that. Alindira is amazing. I freaking love Alindira. She is great, and in my eyes can do no wrong. My thing is, she's on the ship too. In TRIGUN Maximum, her and WolfWood fight, but then her and Livio fight. And Livio it's a whole thing. We haven't seen Livio at all. And Livio was with Legato last time, so I'm curious if Livio is going to show up like in the final hour to like help Vash and WolfWood. I don't know. if you had Vash versus Legato and you had Wolfwood versus Gauntlet, then you could have Livio versus Alindra. Like, that'd be so amazing. It'd be so good. I love Alindra. Loved her using her nail technique. So good. She literally put the nail in the coffin with Legato. I mean, we just needed Legato in the coffin. If we get coffin Legato and she puts the nails in him, it would be so good. It would be so good. But I don't know if we will at this point. The Doctor is giving me vibes of the Doctor does not want to die, and he knows that as soon as Knives gets what he wants. I feel like Alindra is going to be fine because she's part plant. Legato has a death wish and wants Knives to kill him, so he's fine. But the Doctor's kind of like, hey, I don't want to die, so I'm not so sure helping you out in the long term of things is a good idea. And it's like, no, it's not. So we're going to see how that turns out. But the space battle was fine. I do appreciate the people of the home ship fighting back and defending themselves, because to be honest, in Maximum, they do some things, but it's mainly the colony ships coming in, and it's mainly Vash and Wolfwood and Livio. But everybody else is just kind of like, we don't know how to help. So I appreciate that there is this. That's nice. Also, Legato being just kind of demented is a lot of fun to see. And Alindra kind of like holding him in check. That's a lot of fun as well. Legato testing Vash to see if he would become like, to activate his like plant defense. That part was really good. I am a little bit worried about how, if he battles Vash again, what Legato is going to do and how that's going to work. I don't know. How do you even fight Legato? Basically, Vash using his plant powers to fight Legato is what happens in Maximum. He has to. There's no other way to fight him. So, is Vash going to kill Legato? I don't know. Or is Knives? I could see Knives killing him. I could see that because that's what Legato wants. So, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. And then as far as Alindra goes, I don't know, but she was great in this. I love that she just is like, you're a pawn. She looks so good. Freaking love Alindra. I want her to fight in this. With the nails, I want her to fight. Her and Wolfwood and Livio need that to happen. There's a part of me that was kind of like the badger face here of Wolfwood being like, you just gonna stand there and let them do this? But what is he supposed to do? Alindra would nail him to the ground. So he really, in Wolfwood actually playing it smart and just being an observer in this moment, I'm like, okay, he's seeing what's going to go down. They know he can't do anything. So they're like, sure, stay here for the moment. I'm surprised Knives hasn't said anything about Wolfwood, but Knives is on a mission. So maybe that's why. Also, the fact that Knives, in the original Trimax, he did absorb all of those plants, and he justified it by saying, well, we'll just recreate the plants on the planet and repopulate once we get to that point. So am I surprised that Knives kind of follows suit in this version? No. Would it have been kind of cool to see him deviate from his Trimax version and be angry and feel like a monster? Yes, but I felt like it was a little anticlimactic how he came back to life. In Trigun Maximum, the whole rebirth scene is gory and crazy, but it's fine. I feel like there's plenty more Knives can do, but I am surprised that him getting brought back was so like nonchalant, just like, he's back, and then he's like, oh, you killed my brethren. Okay. But he's so hyper-focused. And to be fair, the Knives in a Trimax just did not really care that the plants had died either. That's kind of like the hypocrisy of him. So yeah, so they establish about, I'm curious about the black hair, if they're going to make both of them have completely black hair and how they're going to go about it. In Trimax, Vash just kind of like overcomes at the end, but I don't know how they're going to do it on this. Also, what they're going to do about Kronos. Are we going to get her involved? I mean, Knives is pretty dead set on bringing down all the ships that are coming their way. And Vash is like, I'm going to stop you. And it's like, well, but how? How are you going to stop him? You're in this little test tube and Legato's watching you. So how are you getting out of this? I do appreciate them saying that Knives, he wants Vash to stay there and be with him at the very end, but there's lots of setup, and I'm curious to see what they end up doing with it. What are they going to do with all this? But yeah, The moment we saw him being like, I'm going to take in your power, I was like, oh yeah, Knives and Trimax does take in all the plant's power because he's kind of a hypocrite. And he's like, it's fine. We'll be all safe. He's like, I can handle multiple voices in my head. Come on. I'm curious to know if Tesla's memories are going to affect him any further. I guess we shall see. God, the score of this is so good, though. The score of this is so good. I want it so much. Also, glad to know his piano playing makes the whole room light up. Good job. Oh, okay. Oh, if you look back on his hair there, him using the power to light up, you can see his hair. It's turning as he uses it. Oh, wow. You can see it animate and turn in that moment. Oh, that's cool. And also, the fact that his top of his hair is turning black, but the bottom is staying blonde. And with Vash, the bottom is turned black and the top is staying blonde. They're opposites. That's really cool. Yeah! Already you've been brought back for 5 seconds and your hair's already turned black. Oh, buddy. That's going to be interesting. So, okay. I do think him taking out the satellites is neat. I don't know how that's going to affect the colonies and all of that going down, but I guess we'll find out. So yeah, I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. I can see where people would feel like this was kind of underwhelming with Knives coming back, and I agree with that, but I'm going to be an optimist and see what we get now that we have, in a place where no collateral damage to the people can happen, Legato and WolfWood and Alindura and Vash all in the same, literally the same boat or ship, if you will. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah. I'll be back very soon with more of Trigun Stargaze, and I'll see you then. Bye.